Glad to be here in Charlotte. I guess this is my second time coming here. I came here in '95 and rocked them a little bit. We had a good time. I hadn't been back since. Like I say, it's, at this particular time, I guess this is very special because the whole Charlotte thing with the black woman thing, you know, if you know the history of Charlotte and Queen Charlotte and that whole 9 yards. Since she was a sister, whatever, she might have came out of a white line, a white family, whatever, but she still got the black thing going. And as a result, it's like Dr. Ben said, that just makes the whole genealogy on down to Queen Elizabeth now and the whole 9 yards a nigger clan. So that's good too. Charlotte, also you deal with the word scarlet. In etymology, it's all the same. Anytime you hear the word scarlet woman or the harlot, it's always positive. Anytime you hear anything that the Bible denotes as bad, always turn to that because we're talking about something on a higher level, whereas in the moralistic term, it might mean bad, but then again, what the priest understands, that it would be a source of power. So anytime you hear the word dragon, scarlet woman, harlot, leviathan, Babylon, all this is references to the great mother, or the power of the great mother, later on turned around and degraded as evil, as the epitome of evil when the patriarchal system supplanted, usurped power, and replaced the matriarchal system. And all aspects of the matriarchal system of the great mother had to be turned into evil. So anytime you hear the word Babylon, that's an ancient terminology for the great mother. Comes out of Typhonian Kemet, Typhonian Egypt, which is pre-dynastic Egypt, and you have your Babylonians, which were dynastic, which were at the actual place of the Giza Plateau, or what you call the real word is the Restar Plateau, or the Rasta Plateau, which means resting place of the lions, and that's basically where your 3 pyramids sit in the middle of the earth and your Sphinx. The Typhonians were the ones that built the 3 pyramids, and one of the ancient names for the 3 pyramids at that particular time was called the Babylonian Plateau. As your Typhonian Egyptians were kicked out, or basically were replaced by the Ammonites, which would be your dynastic Egyptians, your Typhonian Egyptians, or Typhonian Camites traveled into what is called Mesopotamia and started what you call the ancient state of Babylonia, Mesopotamia, Typhonia, Tyrrhenia, Etruria, Etruscan, Troy, and Greece. So your original Greeks, the Greek language, the Latin language, the original Romans, all black. As a matter of fact, here's how your original Greeks look. So we threw the baby out with the bathwater. The Greek language is a black language. You see what I'm saying? If the white people couldn't talk, how the hell are they going to create a language as advanced as Greek and Latin if they couldn't speak? So it's the same as anything else, and our history is alive, read upon. So therefore, when we talk about the Greek language, the Greek mythology, the Roman mythology, all that was black people, mainly the Etruscans. This is the original Greek. And we'll pass this around and let you know this brother looks like Isaac Hayes. And you know it's a brother when the damn lips so fat till they fold in half. And you know, so this is original Greek, which is the Etruscans. You won't find no more than 2 or 3 books in a store on the Etruscans at one time. That is for a reason, because they understand that's the origin of the Greek. But basically, these are all pre-dynastic Egyptians, pre-dynastic Camites. So you get the word Babylonian, you get the word scarlet woman, or the word harlot. And the scarlet woman, basic esoterically, is talking about the root chakra, which is at the base of your spine, called the beast of Babylon, which rises up. So the scarlet woman, whose color is red, is talking about the red root chakra, and it's also talking about the sacred menstrual blood. You'll have a lot of oppositions to that at this particular time, even some Afrocentric scholars and all, not dealing with the validity of the menstrual blood and all. But then again, on the other hand, we come to scholarship, and until there's some other scholarship produced, I actually give the explanation why there was a menstrual blood and the menstrual cycle. Because one sister asked the question, well, why the hell do I have to bleed? Well, there's a whole explanation. There's some ancient science that was lost on that, and we'll get into that particular part in a few minutes. But the scarlet or the harlot or the dragon's blood or the menstrual blood or the harlot woman or the scarlet's blood, all of this stuff is representing the nature of the black woman or the essence of what you call the matriarchal period, which predates the patriarchal period. So your matriarchal societies would be pre-dynastic Hemmitt, which was called your Typhonian or Draconian or Ophidian line. All of this is, can be found in the works of Geromancy, which there was abundance of this material around the turn of the century in the British Museum. But after he wrote Ancient Egypt, Light of the World, Book of the Beginnings, and Natural Genesis, somehow these particular books, these particular texts ended up being locked down by the British Museum, and these particular Typhonian texts being locked down by the University of Chicago and different things like that. So anyway, piggybacking off what I'm saying, the whole Charlotte thing, etymology, you're still talking about scarlet. So all this is talking about a realm of the Great Mother. So it's more than fitting at this particular time to even be here, for the simple fact that we're in the height of the summer solstice, the dog days, which starts on July 23rd to August 23rd, and that can be played with because we really don't know what damn time it is. But the point here is that that particular realm is the height of the realm of the Great Mother. The Sphinx Leo that starts on July 23rd, you know, that Sphinx is a feminine principle. That's why it's a discrepancy whether it's male or female or both. And more than likely it is both male and female, which is called Har Market, or Horus on the horizon, or Har Ma Ku. Because what they don't let you know, if you take it back to the Camite line, or the Egyptian line, or even the Greek line, because the Greek sheet is black, there was not a masculine Messiah. It was both a masculine and feminine Messiah. That's one of the keys. So for the mere fact you got an all-masculine Messiah, that means it is fake. Because you can't have one without the other. The feminine Messiah in ancient Kemet would be Ma'at, which would be the actual part. Now, the feminine half of the messianic aspect. Now, what we mean by that is this. You have Horus or Heru, which would be your original Egyptian Christ. The Sphinx is called Har Ma Ku. So there you have Heru Ma Ku. So right there you have Heru, which would be the masculine form of the Christ, and you have Ma, which would be the feminine. You get the double Ma, Ma, and you get the word Mama. But the Ma'at, even that word Ma'at is both masculine and feminine. The Ma means mother, and the At means son. So you get the word Ha Ma Ku, which is the name of the Sphinx, which is both male and female. And basically the name of the Christ, or the Christos, which in actuality is an alchemical term, which means that the Christ never, ever, ever could have been on the planet. So we're talking about a system, and we'll get into that particular part. We're talking about a system that is around the world that is fake in its origin. That is fake in its origin. And what we're talking about here is, and we can prove this based on going into the actual scientific evidence of what the Christ is. Even the actual preacher tell you, well, Jesus is Greek for Christos. Wait a minute, hold on, man. We got a problem here. I thought the damn Greeks were pagan. Now wait a minute. If the Greeks were pagan, what the hell do they do? What the hell are they doing having a Christ? You see, if you can only give me the Greek origin of the word, you see, and what is this pre-Christianity? You see, if there's a pre-Christianity, then I thought that we didn't know what Christianity was until Christ came. You see, but the Christ is different than the whole Jesus thing, but the Christ absolutely, positively couldn't have come to the planet. That's impossible. That's why most ancient people, and all ancient people, your Hebrews, your Greeks, your Egyptians, your Sumerians, even your Islamic say, no way. No way. Now, this is what we got to do, and this is, and I don't mean to be rude. Let me tell you what's happening. I travel all around the country, and this is what happens. It goes out on the tape, and boy, people complain about the babies. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not tripping or nothing, because normally we say that's cool and all, but these people out here, when they get the tape, it is a learning process. So, you know, that's the way it is, because we talk about knowledge here. So, you know, the whole deal on that. So, you know, But anyway, the whole aspect of this is that it absolutely positively couldn't have come to the planet. And no ancient people agreed to this until the Romans took over and made Christianity a ward of their government and forced that upon the people. You see, and forced that upon the people. As a matter of fact, the entire aspect of T.D. Jakes traveling around and basically dealing with the aspect of the black woman right now is to shut down the feminine energy. It's to shut down the feminine energy. There is no way that you can rise to any spiritual heights under the banner of Christianity. There's no way. Now, we can prove this because we're talking about an esoteric system. And although that is worship, basically the energy is always initiated on the lower level. We'll get into this particular part. As a matter of fact, I mean, we can open up the floor for a question and answer right now just to break up the monopoly if a person has a question about that. Does anybody have a question about that? And don't feel free. It's not a challenge or anything, somebody jumping on you. I just think that certain things need to be discussed. Does anybody have a question on this particular stuff? And I mean something that's in your head and you say, I'm not clear about this. I need to find out about this. Because this is major stuff right now. And what I'm saying about that is you got the T.D. Jakes, you got Creflo Dollar out of Atlanta, you got this Bishop Eddie Long out of Atlanta, you got Reverend Fred Price, you got this other black preacher down out in Los Angeles on Crenshaw Boulevard. Now hell, they done had more niggas killed on Crenshaw Boulevard in the last 10 years than in the last 100 with the Ku Klux Klan. But yet, they got a black man that Denzel Washington and Magic Johnson and Brandy and all these doggone Negroes go to this church. And he's building a $70 million church. It looked like the Colosseum in Rome. They got another preacher getting ready to buy the Forum. The Los Angeles Lakers used to play. Is getting ready to buy the Forum. You got Fred Price feels so jealous about it, he goes out and buy him a goddamn 747 or a DC-10. So what you have here, you must understand what's going on here. First we got to put libation, and we will, but I'm going to get into this first. And we'll give the gods this. Is that what you have here is you have, this is a universal system now. This means in actuality there's no such thing, okay, so let me just say this one thing. There's no such thing as local nothing now. Everything is by satellite. That means that somebody in China is watching your ass. Somebody in Tibet is watching you. Somebody in Nigeria is watching you. Somebody in Iceland is watching you. Now look at the magnitude of this. You're on Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, California. And since desegregation, because segregation was a glorious time for us. We had everything. But since desegregation, you haven't done anything economically on a grand scale for an economic system of employment. And you mean to tell me that you got the gall and you have that type of power to get your hands on $70 million and you put it all in a damn building? And you thinking, well, oh, Jesus is wonderful. No, people around the planet are saying, look at these people. These people are at their most savage level, and that's what we are. We are pure savages. Make no bones about it. All which was grand and glorious about black people is finished. Black people are on the lowest level ever in human civilization. We are pure, brute savages. Now, I can say that because I work for the goddamn people. You see what I'm saying? I can say that because I say the white man the devil. So therefore, I can earn the right to know when we're savage and all, because the simple fact I ain't in no Republican Party telling you this shit. We need not be funny with this mess. We have a brain atrophy, which means we don't think at all. We'll get into that. But the point I'm trying to make is this. You need to tell me that you have a person in Iceland. I'm getting ready to ask you. And this person in Iceland saying, well, I done read the history on these people. And these people have had a socioeconomic problem at least since 1965. Because remember, prior to 1965, we had it all. You see, if you understand history. And you mean to tell me you people, you go through a damn Holocaust and all the crack and all the murders and all the stuff, and you mean to tell me that you're going to get your hands on $70 million and you're going to put it in a building? You didn't put it in the economic infrastructure of the church. You put it in a damn building. You see the mentality? But people are over in China watching this shit. And you got to understand that even the people who financed that was the white man saying, yeah, give it to them Negroes. Give them $1 billion just to throw in the church so that we can prove that these doggone people are inferior and animals. You got to understand the science behind that. What's that, sister?
I was just wondering, what is the purpose of all these ministers trying to shut down?
The whole key to this thing is this. In 1990, they looked up, and there was a resurgence of black consciousness through the rap music, through all the black Afrocentric movements, through the scholar movements and everything, and they dictated it because there's a book by Mark Balfour's book, Sign in the Surface, where they had a conference. First of all, the white people convened in 1983. And they concluded that the black man and black woman was God based on melanin. And based on the study of melanin, that we were God. You see what I'm saying? Or we were the divine presence, because God is a German name. But you know what I'm saying based on this whole God thing. They concluded that we was God based on melanin. In 1986, they convened in another conference and said that the Kundalini energy, which is the serpentine fire, which is the base and the roots of our spiritual evolution, was rising on the planet at that particular time. And by 1990, one thing would happen. Consciousness would come back in. That's the first thing. As well as the original strain, the energy would be so high that it would kill off the hybrid strain, which is the mutated strain. So as a result, they looked up and on like clockwork, we were back into consciousness. So they went to work because they understood that this consciousness was so advanced until they had gotten above just the old black cornbread eating preacher. You see. So therefore they had to put money into a new scientific element of a preacher. You know, the new 8-button suits and shit. Even filtered it in and out these like the black plays and all the music. And basically they had to take a preacher and bring him up to the level of an entertainer. So they took the basic entertainer or the R&B entertainer or the R&B comedian or whatever of that particular time that's most admired, and they brought the preacher up to that particular level. Because prior to that, the preachers represented a person past 60. Even the whole concept of somebody being able to preach had to be the quintessential Southern Baptist type of preacher. So they had to take a preacher and make him into a particular star. And so this is a form of government mind control. So T.D. Jakes, Bishop Eddie Long, there's tons of them. They're rising out of the white, just coming out of the woodwork. Like I said, the Creflo Dollar and all those are government inventions. They didn't just rise up. Hell, what would make somebody pay attention to a preacher? And we got one on every damn corner. And these particular preachers become just as great as Michael Jackson. Now, prior to 1996, the only person that can pack 100,000 people in any building other than the Michael Jackson or an entertainer was Minister Louis Farrakhan. After 1996, you get T.D. Jakes and all these fools. What we talk about here is a form of mind control. You see, Christian fascism and a form of mind control. You see what I'm saying? What idiot would go and pay money for anybody to tell them some shit about a book they got on the goddamn shelf? This is asinine, and you are world-class people, and they are laughing all over the world about us, about this bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So the key here is we're talking about a form of mind control. And we're talking about, literally, this is the war that was put on against the black conscious movement, where we tapped into our ancient origin and found out the origin behind the whole Jesus thing. You see what I'm saying? So this is what happened at this particular time. And so we're literally talking about a government installation or a government scientific warfare. You see what I'm saying? And literally at this particular time, they have gripped the masses of the people to the point where as an entire conscious level is now 0 point something as far as black people that have any sense. And the rest of the people, I don't give a damn if you are PhD, hee-haw, bourgeois. The majority of the people have gone back into doggone sleep because of this foolishness. You see what I'm saying? So this is the science that's actually going on at this particular time. Any other questions? Which one? Mark, it's called Mark Balfour. It's called The Sign and the Serpent is the name of this particular book. They're dealing with what is called creative physics. Anytime you hear the creative physics, that means melanin. Anytime you hear that word creative, creative imagination, creative physics. These are code words for melanin. The word shadow in Jung psychology, which is melanin. We did about 1,000 words on melanin alone, just different aspects of it and stuff, you see. We'll go into a lot of that particular information also. Mark Balfour, B-A-L-F-O-U-R. And this particular book, The Sign and the Serpent and all. Where it says, in 1986, however, the scientific evidence for a substantial reality of the universal life force energy field, accordance with the ancient edicts, startled the rationalist view of life and intelligence mere the physical causes. They go on to say that basically they had these rationalists in this particular conference, and this stuff was so overwhelming as far as the information that poured in about this literal spiritual life wave being waken up on the planet, and in so many words they talk about you. You see what I'm saying? It's just like one sister had a genetic, they had a genetic conference in they had a genetic conference in 98, I think fall 98, and they had one black geneticist come and say, well, you know, based on all this genetics and stuff, the black chart is almost like, there's so much research that has to be done because they can't even map all the aspects of the whole black genetic code. You see what I'm saying? The whole black genetic code. So they call that junk DNA. You hear that on X-Files and shit. That's the melanin aspect that they can't map of the black genetic code. They call it junk DNA. You see what I'm saying? As a matter of fact, the reason why they can't map it is because melanin is always changing. Melanin is called chaos. And chaos is an unorganized state of matter where change is supreme. So therefore, when they map it, they come back 5 years down the road and the whole genetic structure of black people has changed because of the melanin. You see? So basically we're talking about something that's in a flux of always changing and going back to mutating into a higher form of intelligence. You see what I'm saying? Because it can't go back. See, this is one of the aspects of this whole conscious thing. First of all, one thing, you can take my word for it, or you take my word, I'll come back another 5 years, but hopefully, I don't look to be around but each month. I live one day at a time. But one of the keys you must understand, based on the ancient science, and we'll get into that, is we're not getting ready to go back to living harmonious on the physical realm of this planet. You can forget about that shit. That's not happening. You're not going back to ancient Kemet, and you're not going to regain an ancient civilization, or you're not going to usurp power on a civilization, a physical civilization in this reality. That's not going to happen. That means that there is the other paradigm shift into a whole nother dimension. And that is what ancient science and our ancient fragments was talking about. Now, if anybody got a problem with that, we need to deal with that now, based on, let's go into the science of that. Because in order to get to the common denominator of saying, well, where the hell are we going? You know what I'm saying? That old joke, they asked God the ultimate question, when are black people going to get this shit together? And God didn't know? I don't know. You see? When we ask that question, so we need, at this particular time in 2000, we need to bypass all the feel-good shit. We're not going to build a black economic structure. We're not going to build a nation-building civilization and all that kind of stuff. And I know we've been saying this shit, but this is not reality. And you know in your heart that's not the way it is. You look at black people out there. Black people are no different than fucking roaches. And that's beautiful if you understand what's going on. But that's a damn nightmare if you think these people are going to build a fucking future for you. Look at the average black person 14. And you think a black person 14 going to build a future for you and you had common sense greater than him 20 years ago? You going to trust that shit to these motherfuckers walking out here? Are you out of your mind? But they are the right stuff for a new paradigm shift. Something that doesn't resemble the ancient culture. That's the difference. If you're looking for something totally different, then baby, we the people. You know what I'm saying? Because we are definitely new Negroes. But if you're looking for something to say, we want to get on civilization like the white man, and we want to duplicate what the white man has, when he only duplicated what we had very poorly, we're going to follow him while he was following us. But if we just say we're going to usurp power and take over America and take over the world like the white man, we are fooling our goddamn self. We are fooling ourselves to the simple fact, number one, we are not a pro-actionary people. We are basically a reactionary people. We are not an offensive people. We are a defensive people, and whenever he strikes, it takes us damn near 25 years just to regroup. But what we don't understand is, this beast understands one thing, and you ought to understand this. He understands, well, we talk all the shit we want. He understands that he bred us. You know what it is to breed a motherfucker? You know what that means? When you breed someone, if you breed a dog, I don't give a damn how much dog might come in here and talk all the junk about white people he wants to. I know I bred you. So I know what you're capable of because I have the scientific element of what I put into you. Because remember, we took almost 300 years to wipe your brain out. So when I breed you, not only do I know what you're capable of, I can go in and rebreed a new program. And that's what he did for the last 30 years. He said, wait a minute, sit back. He said, hold on. This black man's spirit done got on top of us. But we're going to take a whole new breeding process and rebreed a whole brand new breed of savages. And basically that's what the fuck you got. And you looking at black people saying, you don't even know the white man had a whole system to rebreed us. You see, and we can't break that empirical conditioning. Let's not be funny with this mess. We, as conscious people, only represent 0 point something. Of all the thousands, you can walk around damn Charlotte for a month and might meet one person that got some sense in a damn month. Now, I'm in big old Atlanta, we had a bigger conscious community, and I meet one person that got some sense in a week. Now, when you think about all the thousands and thousands and millions of black people here in America, that's like 0 point something. And it's just when we're in the conscious community, we automatically think that the consciousness is growing. But like, that's some bullshit. Consciousness ain't growing, and consciousness is basically obsolete. Yes, as a matter of fact, do you know that intellectual ability is abnormal to black people? Do you know that rationalization, logic, is abnormal? Do you know that thought is abnormal? We even have to look into this word. Do we really think? Because when we talk about this breeding process, what we're talking about here is a series of responses, reactions, and an advanced emotionalism. Put that together, and that's what we think thought is. And thought is something totally different. Thought is something that when you think it, it seems alien, because nobody else ain't thought about the shit. You ever thought that way? You just go and you'll have a thought, and the shit just seem alien. You're like, I can't even say this shit. Motherfuckers gonna think I'm crazy. That's thought. That's thought. If anybody ever thought of something that wasn't there in the beginning, if you got a new invention, 100 years down the road, somebody said, you crazy. People in a damn glass screen running around inside a thing you call a TV, lock that nigga up. You see what I'm saying? That's thought. We can have thousands of black people, and we go on cliche. Cliche and catchphrases. That's what they teach us in the school, in the church, and everywhere. So we even have to even question whether we think. Because 99% of the time, the majority of black people don't even think. So this is ludicrous to think that we're going to raise up. Now, there's a whole other aspect of that. You just got to get on the right paradigm. And the right paradigm is, isn't it funny that at least people is spiritual? Now, as black people, you get a 9-year-old white girl and a white boy, and they know more bad concepts of spirituality than you, and you are the doggone apex and the origin of spirituality. We're more religious. You know, this brother, he told me, Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. And I said, you know, the house I'm in is haunted. The motherfucker looked at me like I was crazy. Oh, you don't believe in ghosts, but you believe in the Holy Ghost. That's an oxymoron right there. That's asinine in itself. You don't believe in ghosts, but you believe in the damn Holy Ghost. But yet you say this whole shit about, they say this thing about, you know, faith and the unseen, and you gotta have faith in the unseen. But yeah, I just told you about an unseen ghost in my damn house. You don't believe this shit. Now I know you're there because one brother called and said, you know, I tried to call you yesterday, but I couldn't get through because your phone just rang. I said, yeah, because I just bought an answering machine Thursday. I said, why? I said, because last November the damn ghost in my house cut my goddamn answering machine. Cut the cord and burned up the damn answering machine. Shorted the shit out. Now I'm up in the house, me and my mate. When I had my mate. That's a whole other story. Come up in there. The phone, she said, damn, the answering machine ain't working. The phone cut off. What's been on? I said, you know, I was up in here all last night. I hear the phone ring, you know. And we looked back there and the wire cut. And I said, well, damn, did you drop something back there? She said, no. And we tried to have all these explanations. I said, well, who gonna break in the house? Cut a damn phone wire. Leave out in the black neighborhood and don't take shit. If it's the government ain't gonna break in the house to cut you off. They're breaking in the house to connect you up. You saw enemy of the state. And who was they saying was the enemy of the state? The black man or the black woman. So I said, well, shit, you know what that's gotta be. And sure enough, we said, well, who is it? And she said, well, my girl's advanced psychic. That's one reason why she left. She said, well, it's pretty safe. It's time to go. So she's an advanced psychic. She said, well, all I'm getting is her name is Josephine. Josephine. So I said, well, what? So I was getting her. So she started going swimming. So she ran and jumped in the pool when she went swimming in the morning. And Josephine came. Said, I'm Josephine. I'm stuck in the house. I saw y'all do a ritual 2 weeks ago, and all these people came. That's what we're going to do before the libation. All the ancestors come. And I want to know where they're going, because I'm stuck in the house, and today my birthday. So get me out today. She said, oh, we got to get her out today. So we did a beautiful ceremony, and we got Josephine out. We just figured she cut the phone just to get our attention. About a week later, here comes this other person, this man up in there. And I said, well, actually, does he want us to get him out too? She's like, no, he wants y'all ass to go. Oh, you the one that cut the damn phone. Oh, okay. I said, all right. I said, okay, wait, you come here tonight. I'm getting your motherfucking ass out of here. You fucking with wrong, nigga, now. I kick spirits in the ass. So we got in there and we drug his butt out. And it was interesting because when we moved in the house, first of all, this house looked like a cottage. And it don't look like it's supposed to be on the same street with the two houses in between. It's like a 1930s cottage. I mean, it's real beautiful. And hardwood floors and all this type of stuff. And the architecture would probably be about $250,000. I mean, just a mortgage now on a house in 1930s and stuff. And it's real mysterious. Even the way we got it. I said, damn, our landlord owned a funeral home. That motherfucker know that house is haunted. You ain't fooling me now. Your ass deal with some damn spirits now. You cutting over bodies and stuff and put some vomit fluid on. You know that house is haunted. So, okay, cool. When we walked out the yard, you know you want the house. Okay, I said, well, we got that shit a little too easy. But, anyway, when we moved in, we had this smell. And we couldn't get the smell out. It was in the kitchen. So for a whole year, we had to buy a refrigerator. I was like, man, we ate out for a whole year, man. I gained about damn near another extra 100 pounds. And all. And so anyway, we ate out for a year. And what happened was, I was washed with bleach, ammonia, everything to try to get that smell out. And the only way we got it out was we left the back door open because it had the burglar bars for a whole summer. And it dried it out. But when by the winter it started coming back, I said, that smell coming back. Man, we got to get rid of this badass house. And one day I said, this shit here is like a ghost almost. But anyway, when we got the person out, the smell left. Anyway, the West End area used to be owned by white people. And the house was built, and I believe the person that was in it was an old white man. And they were both, Josephine, who was the black woman, they were stuck in different time zones. He was probably when the house was built in the 30s or whenever, or the 20s. And she was probably either in the 50s or the 60s when the shit went all black and they had to sell. You see what I'm saying? So they were stuck in different time zones. So we was able to get them out of the actual house. But the point I'm trying to make here is, we have become the least likely people to believe in that type of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? When just before desegregation, the average black grandmama would talk about this shit. And now we've become educated, and we've become more religious, and we've become what is basically what they call prosperity religious, or religious prosperity theology, with this bullshit with T.D. Jakes and all these assholes. And as a result, we don't even tap into anything spiritual, and the white people is following our shit, and have limited amount of power and can only get but so far, but yet the average one, I don't give a damn if he's ignorant. If you take him and break him down, he could be ignorant, never heard this shit before in his life, and believe in Jesus. But if you take that person and set him down and break this stuff down, mathematically, he'll bear witness every time. Number one, because they have open minds for the simple fact that they see greatness all around them all the time. But a Negro, you can go to 1,000 damn lectures and still end up back in the fucking church. You see what I'm saying? So this type of mentality and all. And I told you, we met two white girls. We met two white girls, a white girl and a white boy in 9th grade back in 1990, and they was dropping all this shit. And I was looking at this was my other ex-girlfriend, and I was looking at her, and she was like, look at this shit here. And yet we got black people and all, fucking 40, 50. Running and stuff. Somebody turn on my tape, the woman run in the other room and shit, think the devil coming. You see what I'm saying? But this is what's happening with a childlike behavior. This is the mentality of a childlike behavior. Now going back to the particular part about my girlfriend is she was advanced psychic. So when the shit came down, it was time for her to leave. She said, "I'm out of here." I mean, it was like overnight. One day we chilling. Nothing wrong now, so this is what the fucked up thing about it is. It's not like, we going through some problems. People look like these people are the envy of the whole damn community because they don't even argue. Like this, don't even argue. You've been 7 years and we had, 2, 3 arguments. And then one day she like, time for me to go. Wait the fuck up now. It's not even an argument. You know what I'm saying? It's time to go. But then again, like I said, she was 11 years younger than me, and I got her when she was 20, and a virgin. Whatever the hell that means. But anyway, she said, well, I did my 7 years in the 7-year cycle, and, I got to get out here and see what it's like to be on my own. So I'm like, well, how can you argue with that? If I don't let her go, if I complain about it and all that, she's going to resent the shit. And all this type thing here, and also, I was like, well, I guess you gotta go, it's cool. I said, cause shit, I partied from fucking 14 to 30. So I was burnt out when I met you. So, so she just, like I said, she turned 27, I turned 38. She's like, I gotta go. Simple as that and shit, and I had the sisters up in Motherville, she cut the titty off. As they say, you cut your ass off from the titty, so, if you know what I mean. So anyway, what we do here is I got a few things. Number one, those sisters who don't have no man, I guess you ought to be the one that first get this thing here. This is these are some rituals from the University of Chicago. Now, these rituals are stuff. They got rituals that can do anything. They got a ritual in Africa. If the heart stopped working, they got a ritual to start the heart back up, bring a nigga back from death. They had this kind of stuff, you see. So that's it. This one even delivers one from death. You see what I'm saying? They had one ritual, all-purpose rituals. They had one for dream revelation, one for direct vision. They had rituals for different types of visions, dreams. Love rituals, horoscope rituals, This one, and so this particular paper coming from the University of South Carolina, where they have all of this Camite or this Egyptian stuff locked down. This paper has just like tons of stuff, but there's about 4 or 5 love spells up here and attraction spells too. So if you're a sister who ain't got nobody, if you're a sister who know a motherfucker ain't got nobody, which is damn near every other black woman or every 5 out of 7 black women. We say this way, there's almost 20, close to 15 to 20 million black women in the United States that can't get no man. And that's by government design. Don't let nobody fool you. And we can break that shit down, what we mean by that. Jail, homosexuality, death, deranged ass niggas. You see what I'm saying? So now, it got so bad up in New York, they go, see, this is the funny thing about it, that, back in 96 is no romance, no finance, no romance. Oh, no, that shit done changed now. Got them on the run now. Up in New York, you be like, you got a job? No. Okay, we can deal with that. I swear to God. You got a car? No. Okay, we can deal with that. That got bad. Now it is, are you crazy? That's all I want to know. Are you crazy? So the criteria now is not based on no romance, no finances, no romance thing that Gwen Guthrie song. Now it is, are you insane? Because if you ain't insane, hey, we might can work some damn thing. You see what I'm saying? That's I'm telling you this. Look, I'm telling you, I travel around the country. And I'm telling you this shit. That's why it is time to raise up out of here. That's what we talk about here. Let nobody fool you. It's called eschatology, the ending of the world, to go to the next plateau. Because anytime your species have, or anytime the mother of civilization is deprived of her own mate, it's time to get the fuck on up out of here. You see what I'm saying? And it is time for the extermination of the race when the black man, 98% is in retreat from the black woman to the goddamn white woman. Anytime you reject your species have, it's time for extermination. And I ain't telling you no bull. I'm telling you there is an epidemic that's greater than AIDS proportion all over the country where the black man is retreating by the thousands with the damn white woman. Now we might say all the thing, you might see 1 or 2 little sisters, but when you really break this thing down, the sisters will still prefer the black man. But I'm telling you, I go around the country and I see this. You might see 1 sister every 15 brothers with a damn white woman. You might see 1 sister with a white man. That is because one thing about the white man understands one thing. He might be the apex and the enemy of all indigenous civilization. He might be the worst element ever lived on planet Earth. But one thing he has, and he knows this one thing he's better than us about, he understands based on it is quintessential in civilization that you marry your species have or your mate, your genetic mate in mass. Now you say what the fuck you want by that white man, you gotta bear witness. He marries his woman in mass. He might have 5 or 6 concubines, some Asians, some other prostitutes or whatever type thing, all other races, but the woman he calls his apex is that goddamn white woman. Now I'll teach you some shit, because since we always follow white people, well then do that. If you don't do shit, follow the white man on that because he still married. Why? Because that's quintessential. They say, well look, we can kill around the world. One thing we got to understand is this paramount, if we going to stay on this planet as a rule, is we got to marry our goddamn woman. And here we are, don't have a pot to piss in, and we are in retreat from our woman. This is an epidemic. I'm not telling you some shit based on, you just hear some shit on TV. I'm talking about I travel the country and I see this shit. You see what I'm saying? And I'm talking about overnight. I'm talking about, even in 1990, the epidemic wasn't as bad as it is now. This thing is insane. You see what I'm saying? So, going back to this and all, we got some rituals for everything. I think I got a few of those. You know, like I said, we got to go for $7, but like I said, we got a ritual in here that can damn near do everything. I use this ritual here to get this snake cracker out my house. One of these up in here. I just say, well, hell, this guy, I just put together a whole bunch of them. But these are coming from ancient Hemmitt in the, from the library, there's a lot of stuff that they got out of the Library of Alexandria, and a lot of the papyrus they got for the last 200 years. They got it right there in Chicago, but you will never get to see them. That's the key. You never get to see these things. They're locked down and not for public viewing and translation. So therefore, we do have some of these things smuggled out of the University of Chicago, and these shits work. So I got a few of those left. Now. And then I got a few of these. Now the best thing I can do is when I leave, I'll leave one of these. I guess here either between Darrell and between here when I leave Charlotte. This is the voodoo spirits. We're going to get into this today also too. And these are called bebes. You've seen these things drawn on the ground or whatever. Now let me explain how this works. These are called bebes, and they draw them on the ground in voodoo and white cornmeal and all this stuff. The science on this is very advanced. It's just like if you got a computer and you punch the C key, the C comes up on the screen. If you punch in Charlotte, Charlotte comes up on the screen. Well, it's the same way based on the bebes of the bebes. What happens is whatever bebe you want to put down, basically you put this down and that energy comes and it's drawn to the actual symbol that calls it. You see what I'm saying? And whatever symbol is calling is the symbol that the energy is coming. So we're talking about a very advanced science. You see what I'm saying? So advanced that the white man went on a campaign in the 1950s to make the whole world scared of voodoo through the Hollywood shit. Sticking the dolls and all this kind of stuff. So right now, there's a real fact we're talking about voodoo up in here. You be like, that's dangerous shit. Yeah, there ain't nothing more dangerous than fucking Christianity. Christianity done killed more people on the damn planet than bubonic plague. You see what I'm saying? JC and the boys. JC and the boys. And JC done took more people than Barry White or Dracula or who the ever the hell. You see what I'm saying? So we're going to pose to these particular entities. Darrell Rice, Brother Darrell, has a libation list also. Did you bring those? Mm-hmm. He has a libation list. So for some of you who want to purchase a libation list, you can do that. Now I got a few of these babies, the people who ain't scared. You know, I got a few of these left and all, and you can purchase some of these also too. Not that I used to just sell nothing, but the people get mad when you don't bring them nothing, so I had to start doing something. So, and they have different ones like this also too. And this is a good one too. The one with that heart, that's Urzuli. And she works to get you a man too. You see what I'm saying? We're going to give you one of the rituals for that. We give you a couple of rituals tonight, some money rituals. We'll give you some money rituals. We'll give you some if you want to make. Let's see, we got a lot of, we give you some healing rituals. We'll do all that for the people and all, you know what I'm saying, you know. And just don't use the shit on me. I give you a damn love ritual, don't use the goddamn shit on me, cuz I'm the brokest nigga in the Western Hemisphere. Serious business. Only money I have is in my front pocket. That's it. No bank account, no nothing. So you'll be out in Atlanta working and taking care of my ass. Because I'm the brokest nigga in West Coast. All I got is some sex and some buffalo wings. I can't afford no goddamn buffalo wings. You see what I'm saying? It's a buffalo wing. That's all I got is some sex part now. You see what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So, but anyway, we have this particular thing also too. We got a rare book on Osiris. This is interesting because this is a thing called Melanin People, How to Eat and Devour Their Energy. And this is a white Luciferian group out of New York. I got about 6 or 7 of them left. I'm sorry, but I've been on the road, California, Detroit, Cleveland, and just been depleted. And anyway, so I just got what I got. But anyway, this is white Luciferian group reveal their secrets. And it's also because I even got on some of my tapes how when you go up in them churches, that's what this shit is for. That's to zap the energy, and that's to keep the white boy civilization alive. They feed off your energy. So that's why there's a church on every corner. That's a battery for them. And in this particular information, they explain all this. So the best I can do, if we run out because I'm limited, I'll leave a copy of each one of these with the place that he can go out and get some Xerox, and you can come back and, you know, get him and pay him whatever he needs to, you know, for the cost of the Xerox and stuff. You see what I'm saying? Our brother Darrell, that's the best we can do. So let's post some libations right quick. Let's post some libations right quick and all. And he has a libation list as well as we have the voodoo and the stuff that we'll get into. Y'all all right?
Hey, the question right here.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, what's that?
Again, I want to welcome you to New Roots, Brother Bobby. I'm enjoying your the discussion with us. I was wondering if at some point that you could go back to the menstrual cycle. You mentioned the menstrual cycle earlier.
Definitely.
Really interesting here.
Definitely. Well, I'm going to go back in as soon as we pour the libation, we'll come back that way. What we're going to do is we got so much information to cover until, like I said, I'm going to be here for a while, so, you know what I'm saying? Until they put me out and shit, you know. I did 10 hours in L.A. No problem. 10 hours was like 3. Especially after you pour your libation. 10 hours is like 2. 8 hours is like an hour. And that's the most magical part about it. Because actually you go into a whole other dimension. And what you do is, we'll explain this also too. Because what you're actually doing is, these are no different than electromagnetic force fields and stuff, or energies that we call the ancestors, which is pure raw energy. And what they do is they come to fill up the room, and in so many words, basically, time stops. So you might think it's 2 hours, it'd be 8 hours. Now how the hell I roughly do 8 hours each time I speak, a minimum of 6. Now that's almost impossible for you to have an 8-hour shift at the top of your voice. You see what I'm saying? I did 10 hours in L.A. That's impossible. But that lets you know that it's spiritual. You see what I'm saying? It's spiritual. We're talking about doing this shit here. We're talking about getting up in the morning, pouring these doggone libations. And if you pour these libations and use this, what I did is supposed to spit the rum, but I messed around. There's a liquor store up the street anyway.
Is that it on the table on the left hand flat? That's not it.
What?
That's something else under the paper.
What you mean?
It's a bottle.
No, that's not it. No, that's not it. I'm explaining what that is in a few minutes. Okay. Usually, we get the rum. You spit the rum in 4 corners, and you spit the rum 4 directions also too, and that fill up the room also. But you can pour these particular libations and stuff, and the energy will literally change the atmosphere. Now, how is that? What is gunpowder? Gunpowder is nothing but a doggone charge or reaction based on certain energies crossing up each other. Crossing up. Certain energies crossing up, basically. Coming together, fusing together, and have a reaction. Well, basically, you can change the atmosphere. Whereas the gunpowder won't even shoot because the atmosphere is changed, and the properties that is needed in the atmosphere around it is solidified, is neutralized. So therefore, the gunpowder won't even work. That is why when they shot up the mosque I think they shot up the mosque in New York, in Harlem in the 70s, and the goddamn bullets got caught in the curtain. The bullets got caught in the curtain. So what it is the white boy has convinced us that his laws and the way he explained the universe around him has to deal with his reality. And so therefore, you don't think that there's a reality outside of what the hell he is shaking on the planet, so therefore you think you can't defeat his ass. So therefore, you're always going on the defense. Why not go on the offense? We're going to deal with some of that today by going on the offense. That means when a cracker ain't doing shit, but loving you, you still goddamn go on the offense. Because that's what he does. He sits back and says, now let's go on the offense on this damn nigga ass. And you don't know what hits you. He's been on the offense 10 years, and you still be like, you know, white people are all right. Motherfucker been kicking you in the ass for 10 years. And you think they'll do that? That's the first thing. When something happens, the first thing we say is, they can't do that. No, nigga, you can't do that. You're trying to think with your mind and his mind. They're 2 different species. You can't fathom the depth of how the hell he thinks. And so you're taking your mind and trying to put it in him and say he can't do that. No, nigga, you can't do that. You see what I'm saying? And that's why we fail. We think the white man thinks like us. And it's a whole other species. You see what I'm saying? So therefore, when this thing happens, we baffled. Take us 10 years just to figure this shit out. Because we're still trying to think human. And we don't understand, and we're talking about something that's not even human. So therefore, we can't understand the depths of what he will do. You see what I'm saying? Just like you can't understand what you can't tell me the roach is politics. You're not a fucking roach. So you can't say the roach can't do that. The roach can do what the fuck he want to do. You see, and this is the concept here. This is how we are not able to doggone bounce back from stuff. You see what I'm saying? So, but he does this stuff all the time. So go on the offense. Go on the offense. So let's change the atmosphere and get this going. So I say issue, which is the opener of the gateway. Anytime you do some stuff, what's that?
We need, Sister Jerry, can you play the drum for us? You have a djembe, maybe you can play for us while he does libations.
I mean, you know, how you can put on one of them CDs or whatever. Issue, or Legba, is one of the gods to call on, who is the opener of the way. It's Issue in one part of Africa, it's Legba in another part of Africa, or it's Issue Legba in the same part of Africa, but it's also Tahuti in Hemmitt, or Anubis in Hemmitt is also an opener of the way. Elijah in Christianity, John in Christianity, Ibris in Islam. There's several names. There's Zarabanda, which is in a stuff called Palomeombe, and there's different names, but basically Issue or Legba is the opener of the way, so we'll do the libation to Issue. To Issue. And that open the way, then we'll call out the other libation. Y'all all right? Okay, Issue Oro. You go Ashe as loud as you can. Issue Oro. Ashe. Issue Ipu. Ashe. Issue Oku. Ashe. Issue Sorry. Ashe. Issue Oro. Ashe. Issue Oro. Issue Ashe. Ashe. Issue Ashe. Ashe. Issue Doro. Ashe. Issue Dorasu. Ashe. Issue Ogadan Goba. Ashe. Issue Ikum. Ashe. Issue Urabi. Ashe. Issue Levu. Ashe. Issue Pakawasi. Ashe. Issue Kodi Juice. Ashe. Issue Legba. Ashe. Issue Ashe. Ashe. Issue Ashe. Issue Ashe. Ashe. Hold on a minute. Agasu. Ashe. Agasu. Ashe. Edawodu. Ashe. Amen. Ashe. 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 Bridget LaBrus. Ashe. 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 I say Grand Lotus. I say Lossery. I say Legba. I say Laco. I say Ashe. I say Michigan. I say Ogun. I say Ashe. 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 Okay, hold on 1 minute. Keep on, let's see here, hold up. Bear with me 1 minute. All right, okay. Check. Now y'all go as loud as y'all can. Knock out. I say hold on, let me get a few more. El Cristo Negro. That's okay, let me give you some more. Gotta get these boys down here. Zarabanda.